Hello, wonderful Workato community, and welcome back to theCUBE's coverage of World of Workato, their annual conference. My name's Savannah Peterson, coming to you today from theCUBE's Palo Alto studios, also joined by my co-analyst Rob Stretchay in our Boston studios after what was an absolutely incredible event. Safe to say that we were wowed. Here to talk to us about it and a bit of an afterglow special is Chandar. Welcome to the show yet again. Yet this is now your third cameo in the last couple of weeks. It is great to see you again, and I cannot wait to hear what's going through your brain after such a magical week in Las Vegas.
Savannah, Rob, it's great to be here. It was such a magical week, as you said. And I can still feel the vibration, all the great vibes from the event and all the great energy. So it's great to have completed it and looking forward to wows all around the world and taking this great energy of our community, this momentum, and this whole vibe forward.
I love it, Chandra. We had such a fabulous time with your team. Like I told you, they made us really feel like family. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of our production team, on behalf of Rob and I, and everyone who was involved. It was just fantastically executed at the highest caliber and frankly, so impressive. And I know that we learned a lot of things. I'm really curious to get us started here. What were your 5, and I know it's probably hard to pick 5, what were your 5 big takeaways from Wow Week?
Oh, great. It's a good lead up. 5. Okay. Let me, let me kind of break it down, thin slice it. I think the first thing I would say is when we started the event, it's about really talking about why are agents today. There's a lot of hype around agents and everybody's talking about agents. It's raining agents in terms of what people talk about it. But why are these agents stuck at the edge of businesses and not at the core? And I was really trying to, bring that perspective to the community. And a large part of that is two fundamental regions that all these agents are being used for. Marketing teams use it for better emails, or product teams use it for better writing code, but they're not at the fundamental core business processes that we're using today, whether it's driving order to cash or purchase to pay or financial close or any of these things. And the two reasons we kind of highlighted was that number one, agents lack the enterprise context and agents lack enterprise trust. And those are the two critical pillars to bring these agents to life. Context meaning if I'm a customer support agent and I'm trying to do the work on the behalf of the human and be the most proactive, responsive agent out there, I need full context. I don't need just partial context of data sitting there. I need context at a data level. I need context more importantly at a business process level, and be a lot more signal driven and rather than just being reactive and being having a siloed view of data. So that is one issue that we highlighted in agents. And the second thing is that these agents they lack enterprise trust. And what I mean by that is, on one hand, you have CIOs who want complete predictability. On the other hand, what AI is scholastic. It's not completely predictable. So how do you bridge the gap between what the dichotomy between what CIOs want and what fundamentally what AI is providing a set of enterprise skills that drives predictability again and again and again. And our CEO gave a great example of me raising my hand to drink a glass of water. That is a skill I've learned early in my life. But I don't need to relearn that because that predictability is already happening in my system. And it's the same thing that needs to happen for these agents to be successful. And those skills can be provided by these units of work, that atomic unit works. For example, a credit processing or inventory allocation or some sort of an order check. And all these are atomic units of work that can provide these skills to make these agents successful. And that's what this conference earlier we talked about is when you get the context, when you get the skills, you can be really, really successful to bring these agents to life. So at the simplest level, we defined what an agent is an agent is AI plus orchestration. And what orchestration does is provide these skills that I just talked about at a much more broader way than anything that you've seen before. So for example, you could try say I can get skills through APIs, or I could even use this hot thing called MCP in the world to get skills. But that is like bringing a butter knife into a sword fight. These things are pretty limited into what you want to do to get these true agents at the core. And that's what we bought in saying agents equals AI plus orchestration. And that's the formula to bring agents into the core of the business.
I think it makes a lot of sense. So I have to ask you, first of all, outstanding use of props there, Chandar. We know that this has been a theme between the layer cake and everything else that you've been able to show us. When do you think that the ease of agentic integration and workflow optimization will be as easy as lifting that glass of water? How far away are we from that?
It's about like, how do you provide the broadest amount of skills to these agents to make it as automatic as possible? And at Workato today, we talked about 900,000 plus enterprise skills that we are providing to these agents to bring these to life. And the second part of this is that we also announced 28 genies that are available to bring these to life ASAP. And these genies are what we call Workato agents. And what uniquely differentiates these genies is that not only are they autonomous, but they are completely KPI driven. And it's not like we have some companies advertising 50,000 genies, et cetera. But it's really that's not the case. But these genies are completely KPI driven. For example, you have a campaign genie, and what it does is the KPI for it is how much pipeline am I generating. You have a license genie, and the KPI for that is how much license costs am I saving. You have a customer success genie, and the KPI for that is what is the retention rate that I'm improving or enhancing. And so taking these genies and starting with them is a great place for people to again starting realizing the value of these. And I talked about the enterprise skills that we have, the 900,000 plus, that can provide a layer for people to get started on these agents sooner than ever before. And the last thing I'll say, Savannah, on like what is making these agents come faster, is that we have a new piece of technology that we talked about at the conference called Aero, which is the ability for people to build these agents and also build migrations from other systems at a much faster way than we've ever done before. And that's available for companies to bring this to life much faster than ever before.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I'm glad we got to the genies and to some of the tech here. I think that, again, really great stuff. I think one of the things I also saw, while we were there that was very impressive was not only the fact that you were building out a community of developers, but you were also talking about how lines of business and IT and developers could kind of get along, where the business users, not just the IT or the developers, can really create agents and really aim for those KPIs. Do you see that as one of the key things that came out of it? We were hearing it from customers during the week there.
It's a great question there, and the answer is an emphatic yes there. And so the Venn diagram of synergy that is happening because of AI is lines of business and IT and CIOs recognizing that can work closer than ever before. We've always said that, but this technology empowers to do that. And if you look at the conference when we rolled out the 28 genies and we showed examples of 5 different ones on stage, the people presenting it were not typically the product demo people, were not the IT people, was actually the line of business owners. For example, I talked about the campaign genie, the growth marketing leader presented. I talked about the customer success genie, the customer success leader presented. I talked about the license genie, someone in IT responsible for provisioning presented it. And not only did they present it, they co-built it. And so that's the important thing. There is an element of technology that the business technology teams had brought in terms of building the genies using the foundation of Workato One. And there's also the partnership with the line of business team. What is the KPI? How do we define it? And how do we operationalize that in the genie? And having that partnership much closer than ever before is a great opportunity as we democratize this agent building across both business technology as well as line of business teams. It's a really, really important point, and it came to life there.
We really got to see it come to life, especially through the many conversations that we got to have with your community and with your customers, really compelling customer narratives. I know one of the goals of the show was to show and not tell, and I think we got to see a lot of that, which was really exciting. I know you gave out some customer awards while you were also there, and I'm curious to hear what that was like for you, as well as just what your conversations were like on a personal level with your community there in Las Vegas.
No, it's great, Savannah. I'll start with the personal level and I'll get into the awards. The best part of all of this that it's about them and not about us. And all these changes that we've talked about and all this, momentum and transformation, it's really about the community and how they can be at the forefront to shape the future of work and drive changes for their companies. So there was a lot of conversations, and the biggest thing takeaway was, where do we get started? There's a lot of excitement, and where do we get started, and how do we get going and make it actionable? And as the leader Vikram from Amplitude said very aptly on stage, he said, pick a KPI and go. Right. And so for you to kind of start proving the value of these agents in the marketplace in your respective companies, pick a KPI, whether it's front office or back office, pick one and go. And so that was the big thing in the through line in the community is there's a lot of excitement, and how do you convert that excitement into something actionable? And that is where that we've been, the conversation. We had 100 plus customers who raised their hand and said, we had an offer on stage and who wants to get started ASAP in terms of bringing these agents to life. And we had tremendous initial momentum that. So that was the kind of the initial conversation, Savannah. Now let's get to the most exciting part. There were great stories that we showcased, and as one of the proud things in the conference of success, ranging of companies of so many different sizes. Companies that are helping people get married, to companies that are organizations that are helping people get married, to organizations that are getting us buy us the coolest cars like Lucid. The first one was Brilliant Earth. To organizations that have solved the most sophisticated security problems in the world, like SentinelOne. To organizations that are solving many, many, many complex software set challenges like TriNet, et cetera. So the whole span the spectrum in terms of the types of customers, the types of use cases and value that they're driving, and the types of impact that they're showing in their organization. So that's something that's really, really significant that we saw from that perspective. And I'm happy to share some stories of that.
Yeah, I think that's actually where I wanted to go, because I think one of the things that was great was we got to have a lot of them on. We had Lucid, we had SentinelOne on. In fact, I think one of the things that SentinelOne really talked about was time to value was shrinking for them because they're using Workato and the platform to help them get to genies with actionable KPIs a lot quicker. In fact, they said it was 50% reduction in quote times, which helped them out as well. How was the reaction that you had and things, because you had the big experimental zone, and you also were talking about your AI innovation headquarters in San Francisco that you were rolling out as well?
Yeah, it's exciting. So first of all, I think the AI Innovation Center, we talked about this, an AI lab. We acquired a company called Expand.ai, really at the forefront, driving a lot of PhDs, driving the forefront of AI research, and how we can bring that research into the Workato One agentic offering is something really, really exciting for us as we look forward. And going back to the KPIs, I think this whole conference was about, we talked about KPIs and outcomes. What are measurable, tangible impact that our customers are adding to the respective organizations across the layers of whether they're doing stack modernization as much as what they're doing in the agentic area. So just to give you a few examples, Rob, you started the first one with SentinelOne. It's a great example of, configure price code. A salesperson has to do a configure price code. And obviously, it's not an easy exercise when you're doing it manually, it's painful. How do you go from there to, 30 minutes to less than, 2 minutes? And the amount of acceleration that it takes that and the amount of agility that it drives that is a great example of, driving value through agents in one place. The second example that we saw was Amplitude, bringing agents to life across finance, across procurement, across marketing, across IT, across sales and other areas, and saving about 4,000 hours of work by bringing these agents or genies to life. Second great example that we saw. Third, Brilliant Earth, company that helps people get married. They have the best diamonds. I don't know if any of you guys have shopped at Brilliant Earth. They have some great diamonds that are built ethically and with a lot of elegance. And their story is how they're using Workato for modernizing their stack, driving a consistent experience across their physical stores and the e-commerce experiences, connecting to Shopify, and doing all of this in such a rapid time that they've doubled the amount of, or they have decreased their amount of responsive time by 100%. So they're 100% faster in terms of getting these projects done, and saved $1 million in operational excellence by doing this. So that was another use case that was there. Another example was TriNet, a great example of product leadership, a great product company. And they're working with us to get customers live on their solutions. And they've got 120 customers live in 100 days, if I get my numbers right. And so that is, again, a great impact of value. And finally, Lucid, and Sanjay, the CIO, was on stage talking about how they're harmonized, first of all, modernized their stack and harmonized how they have harmonize the DMV processes to get it under 5 minutes with Workato, given where it was before, and partnering with us, a great example of value and impact. So these are the consistent patterns of value, of impact, and change that these people are driving in their organizations.
It's all so impressive, Chandar. I mean, we got to talk to many of those companies. We hope to continue to talk to all of your happy and successful customers. Your stories are welcome on our stage anytime. I know I speak for all of us on that. And just as one final note, you did a really good job of breaking down complex concepts into a layer cake. So we actually brought you a cake here in the studio today because you wowed us.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I wish I was near it to actually kind of grab it.
I know, I was expecting to see you in the studio today, but I did. This is on behalf of all of us, all of you, thank you for wowing us in Las Vegas. It is a proper layer cake here. I'll actually give it a slice just to confirm that I was sold a bill of goods.
I can vicariously eat it through you right there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Can confirm we've even got a little Workato blue seed. We've got, oops, here, I'll pull it over here. We got some layers in our cake. And we look forward to more sweet Workato community-powered stories ahead. Chandar, thank you so much for a great week and for including us and for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely cake. And I look forward to more of this together at the next WOW.
Absolutely. We will definitely be there. And Rob, thank you so much for such a fantastic week in Las Vegas as well. It was pretty sweet.
Thank you both.
Great. It was pretty sweet. On that note, thank you guys.
Yes, and thank all of you for tuning in to our fantastic and inclusive coverage of Workato WOW, both from Las Vegas, Nevada, and here from our studio in Palo Alto, California. My name is Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.